Hello, my lovelies. Today I want to talk about the importance and the role of shame that takes place in our lives and in others. And I've just had a large bout of shame being released, and you can do this by owning your shame. You stop running from it and you start owning it. And it's really, really important that you're owning your shame, not just because, not just to make sure that you're not suppressing it so that it's not unconsciously sabotaging you in other areas, but also because I'm realizing it is a huge component in being able to set and uphold boundaries with people who are specifically trying to gain more access to you than you would like. So these are often the people who trigger a people-pleasing. These are often people who trigger your people-pleasing dynamic the most. For me, it's people who are really, really well-intentioned and I just really want to help them, and they create a lot of drama around themselves. They find themselves quite stuck, and that dynamic of they have good intentions but they seem so stuck in their own world that they can't see or help themselves, that triggers in me a response of I really want to be there for that person. I can't tell them harsh truths that they need to hear, which obviously isn't really helping them long term. And because these people can be quite direct, and the only way I can really describe it, when I tap into it, when I take away that whole facade of like, oh, they have good, they do have good intentions, but they're often, the words they're using are often quite rosy and what people want to hear, but the energy beneath is very much like, I'm loving my own drama, so I'm not going to change. So when you start listening to the energy, you start to realize, hang on, well, first of all, if you're trying to help these people, they're not in a place to receive help, so you're infringing on their boundaries. But also they'll just come at you, and when you tap into that energy, it's, to me, I would describe it as penetrative energy. It's too much for you to handle. Even if you do want to help, you find yourself very overwhelmed and you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You're thinking, I really want to help this person, but I have no energy left, and actually I just want them to leave me alone, and now I feel guilty for thinking that because they mean well and they're just trying to do their best, and you start making excuses for them. And I'm starting to realize that shame is a huge role in helping protect yourself from these people, this types of energy. And it's not that these people are bad, it's just sometimes they slip into a dynamic where they're desensitized, so they can't feel or see the other person, and they just end up talking and pushing their subconscious agenda onto you, and to them it's just chit chat. But to you, if something feels, as someone who's more conscious and present, something feels very off. And you need to see that these people are first and foremost stuck in their own drama. You cannot help them. Focus on helping people who are open to receiving help. You have to also recognize that they don't really want help at this stage. So not only they're not open to it, they don't really want it. They don't know how good it can be, and that's okay. You don't have to help everyone, just honor where they're at. And sometimes that means at some points you have to protect yourselves from them. Like, I have people close to me, and I've had this in a lot of my friend dynamics. You don't have to completely push the person away and leave. Actually, if you do this, I've had this in a lot of friend dynamics for as long as I can remember. And at 17, I managed to break off from this dynamic. I realized it wasn't healthy. I stopped and I got out of it, but then I got into it again. And then I realized, I'm doing it again. Okay, love and respect this person, but I'm just going to move away and I'm going to find other friends. And then it happened again. And this third time this year, I am fully taking on board, no, okay, something needs to change in my embodiment for this to happen. And this can't the boundary you can't express in just a verbal way. You have to feel it. It has to be a part of you. And that's really how, especially if you want to keep this friendship, or if it's a family member, for example, someone that is always going to be in your life, but it's just this one dynamic that they keep catching you in, and it just puts you in that triggered mode, that fight or flight mode. We want to get you to a place where you can protect yourself against it. And shame has a huge part in this, because once you own your own shame, you then start to see the role of shame as a whole, where it is misplaced and where it is rightfully attributed. And so we want to use shame here so what's happening is their energy is coming at you. So they are trying to take resources from you in terms of like, oh, listen to me, I need your presence, at a time when you are not available to give it. So they're trying to take from you, and at that moment you are embodying a use me energy. You are allowing them to take reserves that are it's like your last drop in your tank. You're saying, hey, yeah, technically I still have a bit of energy. If you need it right now, you can take it. But that leaves you completely triggered, feeling horrible and off. And for me, this could throw me off. I mean, the more aware I became, the shorter those periods came. But at first it was kind of constantly I was triggered by this. And lately, as I've been getting better, I will be thrown off for, I don't know, sometimes like an hour afterwards. And it's annoying because I'm conscious in every other area. There's just this one dynamic that I hadn't yet learned to understand or protect myself against. So what you want to do here, first step, is acknowledging they're not in a place to help. They're not asking for help. They don't need help in that moment. They're just using a little bit of a poor me dynamic in order to get to you. Second of all is there's no malicious intent, but they are eliciting a predatory vibe towards you. They are trying to take your energy. And again, they don't mean to, they don't realize they're doing it, but it doesn't matter. It's still, the end point is still they are taking from you. And so lastly, we want to start to trigger a shame response in them, and this is how they're going to learn. And they won't even sometimes know that they're learning, but they will at the very least learn that, I am not meant to take from this person. Like, obviously that happens at a subconscious level, but they'll start to go, this person's reflecting shame back at me, maybe I should stop. And the way we do that is by realizing that you're in an unhealthy dynamic, and that it's, again, nothing to do with them, nothing to do with you in terms of self-worth or whether they're a good person, whether you're a good person. Just acknowledging, okay, I'm in an unhealthy dynamic right now. We energetically downgrade the person. So we are saying, you are not more important than how I feel. You are not able to have access to my own private, sacred reserves, because I need this in order to help people who actually need it. All you're doing is taking from me and masking it in a I need help package. And that's not helpful for anyone. That's not healthy for anyone. And you're not even helping. So we energetically downgrade them. And this then allows us, we're not in a place of authority, but we are in that moment, I guess we are. We're not saying that we're better than the other person. What we are saying is, right now you are expressing a behavior that is very, very uncomfortable, predatory, and I don't blame you for not realizing. Obviously they've got triggers, they've got their own things going on, but by giving them a shame response, you are helping them see, oh yeah, they've slipped into that dynamic again. You are helping them become a better person, actually, and to not take from other people. And trust me, this is not if you are feeling this, if you feel like people are taking from you, especially in terms of conversation where they're just talking at you or monologuing, or they ask you how you are, but they're not really listening, and they're meant to be your friends. It's not a you problem, and you are definitely not alone in this. I thought for the longest time it was just a me problem, but I've actually spoken to other people about this, especially people who know the same people that I was involved with, and they felt exactly the same. And And I thought it was just me because I kept seeing this dynamic in my friends. But the really interesting thing is that another person who's close to me and knows that the main person who was triggering me in this way, they said, or they have a good friendship group. And then I realized actually their work life was where they were sabotaging. So they had a use me vibe with their work. I didn't have that in my work, but I had that in my friendships. So what I'm saying is you could be experiencing this dynamic with this one person, but it's taking from you. It's an open wound and it is affecting you in other areas of your life. So once we plug this, once we create a strong boundary around it, we are going to see better results in our friendships or in our work or our relationships in a more intimate or romantic setting or any other area. Maybe it's your health that you're trying to work on. So it's really important that just because other people around you may not look like they're suffering in the same way, they probably are just in a different way, or maybe they're able to mask it from others better, or you just don't see it. But either way, if you feel like there's something wrong, there's something wrong. I promise you there's something wrong. And it's great. Taking ownership of that is great. And realizing it's not you gives you the power to, again, energetically downgrade that other person. We're starting to say, you are not more important than my basic protection needs, just because in this light-hearted conversation you need someone to listen, or you think you need someone to listen. I'm not in a place where I can give that to you, so stop taking it from me. And the way you do this is by, you're still present and you still have an open heart towards them, but you stop giving them such intent attention. So before even though they were deeply triggering me, I was just kind of sitting there hoping they'd stop talking or get the hint. And I'd still try to I didn't want to make it seem like I wasn't listening to them. So I still try and make eye contact and I try and stay present, even though my body was screaming and feeling really triggered at the time. I'd even try and, start shuffling about and trying to get the hint of, oh, maybe I'm getting up to move, but that doesn't work. The subtleties don't work. You have to don't have to actually do it. Again, keep your heart open through all of this, because that makes a huge difference as to how it's delivered. It's no longer I have authority over you, you're doing something bad. It becomes hang on, babe, you're crossing a boundary and I just want to gently express this to you. So keep your heart open, your mind open, your body open, but just start to energetically think of staring them down. Don't react as much, so don't just nod, don't just say yes, and don't try and, if they start triggering your mind where you feel like they said some wrong information and then your ego kicks in and it's like, no, I know better, don't keep the conversation going. Just, the best way I can describe it is you don't give them the feedback they're asking for. Like subconsciously, they will give you cues of, I need you to nod, I need you to agree with me, I need you to show me you're listening, and I want you to keep eye contact, keep presence, but just kind of be quite still, quite dull almost, kind of like you're subliminally telling them. You can even subliminally, like, just hold in your body, this is not okay, I'm requesting that you feel shame so that you can help see this behavior. Again, not like deep-rooted, I am shame, I'm not worthy, just a sense of, I love you as a person, but right now a behavior you are eliciting to me is crossing a boundary. I just want to show you a little bit of shame to reflect that this is not okay and you can't do this to me or to other people in this scenario. And you're basically helping them reflect that they need to take responsibility for their own actions. And if you don't do this, you are basically saying their actions don't have consequences, don't impact other people. And this is really dangerous, because if you start to let this in, this is a dynamic you will bring on too. You need to understand also that your being has an impact. You have a place in this world physically and energetically, and you can't help it. If you are alive, you have a place and you need to take up that space. Otherwise, you are basically disowning responsibility, and that's really, really dangerous. So I hope this helped. Shame is actually really, really useful and really good. We just need to know how to use it and to not use it as an attack on other people. We never want to use that inappropriately. We want to use it measured and gently. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, my loves. And if this helped, please give me a like and subscribe. It would really help to, well, help me, but also help share with the community and help other people start reinforcing boundaries and finding their empowerment and just building a better network, bigger network of conscious women. So thank you very much. I will see you in the next one.